Hi, Trevor here with the ASAA Mental Health Series. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Reggie Schoeppe. Reggie just completed his BA in Recreation, Sport, and Tourism through the Faculty of Kinesiology, Sport, and Recreation at the University of Alberta. He's continuing his education in the pursuit of an education degree as well. Reggie is also a current member of the University of Alberta Golden Bears football team. He's played a number of sports, including lacrosse, hockey, basketball, rugby, and handball. He's played football for 16 years now and a variety of positions in that time, including starting at quarterback for the Salisbury Composite Sabres in high school. He currently plays defensive back for the Golden Bears and has been selected to the prestigious East-West Bowl, as well as receiving an invitation to the CFL Regional Combine. Reggie, thank you for taking time for that interview today. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Hey, good to see you again, Trev. I hope everything's going well over there with the ASAA. It's good to have to be on here too.
No, I think that our student athletes can learn a lot from your experience and that you can be a valuable resource for them. So I'll field you a nice, easy softball to get started here.
Cool.
Do you have a daily routine related to well-being or positivity? Is there anything you kind of do to keep that mental frame on a daily basis?
Yeah, so in terms of well-being and positivity and kind of like what I do daily is a couple of things I make sure I do every day is I read, because I found out that like just by reading every single day and certain books I'm reading too, like so the book I'll talk about that I read right now is it's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and it's all about looking into your mental, looking at yourself and looking at your own kind of like self-perception, kind of seeing how like what issues you have in your life and like kind of attacking them from like different angles. And so reading that book is one of those things, like not like it's just attacking them from different angles, but attacking them from different angles, learning why they're issues, and then like overcoming them and then building on that and just trying to become the best version of yourself. So that book's been really helpful, I think, and that's been something I've been reading daily just to keep my mind sharp, keep my mind stronger, just always reminding myself that like there's ways to keep getting better every single day. And another thing I do, like one of the, like, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the 10 things that Kobe Bryant said to do to get better every single day, but one of them was practicing mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is a tool that it's not about like, it's kind of like a meditation. It's a form of meditation in the sense like it is meditation, but it's a way of recognizing your thoughts pretty much. And instead of just like letting your thoughts control you, it's not like stopping thoughts. So like when I watch a video, I basically kind of explain how it's like, you'll get angry still, anger will happen, but now instead of just like getting angry and like reacting to that, you'll recognize that you're angry, go down, see why you're angry, be like, oh, like I stubbed my toe, and why am I angry? Why? Because it hurts. I'm not going to react angrily though. I'm going to let that thought pass, and I'm going to come out better from the situation. So yeah, two of the things I do every single day are reading, and I practice my mindfulness to make sure that like I'm recognizing the thoughts that are coming to my head and learning how I can like deal with those thoughts and pass them on. And that's not just for like everyday life. I mean, it is for everyday life, but in the sense like the main reason I'm doing that is to help myself get better on the field. So while you guys are looking for that, like mindfulness is a huge tool. I think it's when something bad happens, say like whatever sport you're in, volleyball, you miss a set, football, you get like you have a bad play, you blow assignment, track or something, you run a bad time. Like mindfulness is looking at that, like kind of recognizing those feelings are coming into your head and not letting them overtake you and like finding a way to bounce back from it. It's that whole, because like I said, like the greatest athletes make mistakes, but the ones who are the greatest are they're the greatest because they make those mistakes and they bounce back from them almost immediately. That's one of the big things I do for my mental well-being.
That's huge. That's a really valuable take on that. And I think that it's nice that you were able to put it in kind of a multi-frame perspective and say like, hey, look, this is really universally applicable because you've got that multi-sport background and you've been involved in so many things. With that, with kind of the multi-sport background and with your current football situation that you've been playing with the Bears for such a long time, have you found that sport has helped your schooling, or has it been that school has helped your sport?
And at the end of the day, like one of the things like Coach Morris always preaches to us is like football's fun, but education is forever. Football, like I've been lucky enough to have coaches teach me that from like when I was a kid all the way growing up. Like I played Bantam Rams out in Sherwood Park. So those of you know Coach Skitsko, that was his one of his main frames too, was like football's fun, but education is forever, you know, because like the average CFL career here, if I'm like I'm blessed enough to get a chance there, is like the average career is only about 3 to 4 years. So after that, like you're gonna need something to do with all that time after, because like by then, like I'll still only be like 30 years old or so. So I'm gonna need a job after that. So I'd say like, yeah, education's definitely helped me in my sport. And I've been lucky enough that through that sport, though, I've learned the importance of having a good education while taking care of that aspect.
Totally. Have you found that being a student athlete rather than just an athlete and incorporating that kind of school and scholastic side of it, has that shaped who you are today?
Yeah, I'd say so. It definitely helps. It brings in a whole sense of responsibility, not just responsibility, but it forces you to add structure to your life and really schedule and learn how to kind of like rank items in order of importance. And like one thing I started doing that I found really helped me personally was just scheduling my day out. So like you don't just schedule, like you schedule like every half hour if you can. some days when it's like a little bit tougher, you can schedule like every hour or so, but you schedule every single hour. Things I don't get to, that I just circle them and I make sure I get to them the next day. And like another thing, one of my buddies that works over at the Peak School of Football helped me out with this, was like, he has me set like my 3 MVPs every single day. So those are like my most valuable priorities. And those are like the first 3 things I have to get done every day. So some days it's like working out, meal prepping, and studying for my midterm that's in a week or so, So yeah, it's definitely, it's helped me become a lot more responsible as a person and just gain ground that way.
Totally. It seems like between your reading and mindfulness habits and the structure that you're talking about right now, you've got a lot of really solid habits and like healthy ideations. Is there any other resources that you think are really valuable just in terms of structuring your day, keeping yourself on track and keeping yourself kind of task oriented?
Yeah, resources I use to help keep myself on track would be, honestly, all you really need is a pen and paper. You can go get day timers. Like I know from my mom uses a day timer to go through all that. But me personally, I just have like a pen and paper. I just write down, just like mark little notes like every hour, like 9 to 10, scribble in what I want to do, 10, 11, like 10 and 12. Like I have a whole day schedule. And when you schedule in that whole day too, you got to remember you're going to need time to eat. You're going to need time to travel. And you're going to need time to rest. And for you guys, like when I say time to rest, I don't mean sitting on your phone, watching through TikToks and stuff like that. It's actual getting rest. Sitting back, kicking your feet up, and like really letting your mind rest too, so you can stay energized for your whole day and get the important things done that need to get done.
Totally. And I think that's really important. A lot of people don't understand the importance of rest just as a recovery tool, in terms of like, you can't be 100% all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of circumstance, what helps you, do you feel like, get the best rest possible?
Another thing actually I learned from Kobe Bryant here. When I'm feeling tired, he keyed on these 15-minute naps. 15-minute naps have honestly been a key in my day. So with football, we had this is like, again, talking about just like how I deal with not having enough rest. When we have our 6 a.m. workouts, like I'm not gonna lie, when it gets to that 11 o'clock mark, it's 11 a.m. mark, it's pretty tough to stay awake in class sometimes. So one thing I've found that helped me just be successful and like be able to pay attention during that class is just like, I go to the locker room after every run and just clock out for when all the guys left, because when they're all in there after, it's pretty loud and pretty crazy for a bit. But when they all left, I just, get some darkness, put sugar on my face, lay down, and just lay down for 15 minutes. But as soon as that alarm hits, you got to get straight up, like you can't rest longer than 15 minutes. And because if you go longer or something, I think it's if you go like past like 25 minutes, you're just going to get pretty groggy. But after that 15 minutes, I feel kickstarted every single time, like I'll feel my eyes will be heavy, my head will be heavy. But once I wake up from that quick little 15-minute nap, I feel quite good. And again, like that's when you're not having enough rest. And like when you get that, it helps kickstart you and get you going back and like focusing on what you need to focus on. And it's only like 15 minutes of your day. So it's nice and quick. It's not like you're taking up a whole lot of time and neglecting other responsibilities.
Absolutely. No, that's huge. And so it seems like so far to this point in the conversation, it's structure and that kind of order and time management is really, really important to you. And so let's not ignore the elephant in the room. When life threw a wrench into our plans, when you guys couldn't get in the team facility, couldn't practice with the team in person, what changed? How did that structure kind of shift? And what did you do to kind of keep positive and keep getting better?
Yeah. So when COVID kind of hit and we weren't able to kind of get into our facilities and everything, like you really like, at first, I'm not going to lie, like it hit me hard too. Like I was staying up to like 3 a.m. sometimes playing like Fortnite or Warzone with my friends and then waking up at like 11 the next day. But you got to realize like life's going to hit you hard. And sometimes it's never going to just be like an upwards climb. There's going to be hills. There's going to be bumps the entire time. That's just the reality of it. It's the ability to bounce back, kind of like I was saying before, and like bounce back like in a game, and the same thing, bounce back in life when it gets hit hard. So what I personally did was I was like, I have all this extra time now. Why am I have no other excuse here. I'm at home. I have no other excuse but to try to find other ways to get better now. So a lot of the things I could do, like I did, was like there was tons of resources we had. Luckily, like with our strength coach, like he was great for that. Like he was hosting weekly team Zoom meetings. But aside from that, like that was only like once or twice we were doing that. There's tons of videos you can go look at on YouTube. Tons of things you can go search up to where there's like quick 10 to 15-minute workouts if you want to do those, even 1 hour workouts. One of the things I did was I found this yoga app I started doing, and I was doing that for an hour every single day because when I was looking at everything, I was like, I got time right now, so I'm going to use it. I looked at where my main weaknesses and my main issues were, and I was like, how can I strengthen these and find new ways to, what's the word I'm looking on, capitalize on the time we have now and capitalize on this unique advantage we have to kind of attack things that we normally wouldn't get time to attack, So I think when life hits you like that and throws a wrench in it, you got to kind of look at it from a sense of like, how am I going to come out stronger from this situation, Because because life's always going to throw things at you. And if you're just going to let it, like, going to start playing the victim, being like, oh, this is so hard. What am I going to do? You're never going to gain anything from it. You got to look at this. You got to look at everything as an opportunity, as a challenge, not like as a threat, you know? It's one of the things our coaches talk about too, is looking at things as an opportunity and a challenge and not a threat. So like I looked at that thing as like, oh, I don't have time to work in the weight room right now. Well, I'm going to make sure my body's right and like everything's working properly and moving properly. And I'm going to find new ways to work out and enhance my speed and like have some fun with my workouts. So yeah.
Totally. That's really valuable, and a chance to shift gears like that, so to speak, in the sense that you're normally in, doing this, but it really gave you an opportunity to kind of hit those other things that you'd be in, maybe not neglecting, but just not hitting as much as you wanted to.
Exactly.
I think that's really valuable. Talking about that kind of A-frame, and here's what you have been doing, here's what you have been doing. What was or is your favorite part of practice and training normally? And like, what does that look like? And then how do you adapt that and shift that for a different circumstance where you can't normally do that?
So I think like my favorite part of practicing normally would have been tea time, and learn like playing against, like going, like, like that's the best part of the sport I play, is like the actual act, like playing it, like the whole team thing. So one thing I did to adapt that I'm still doing actually to this day that I started doing is like, I got time right now, so I'm going to start learning more about the other teams we're going to be facing in the season. So every single day I started watching 10 plays, and like we're watching 10 plays of teams I've been working through. I've got through 2 teams already, and I'm just starting on my 3rd right now. And they said that like our coach was telling us this stat, like going through a game in your head and like putting yourself on the field mentally and kind of like envisioning that whole thing is as good as like, if you do that for like an hour efficiently every day, like it's as good as like an hour of real practice on the field. Like your mind is such a strong and powerful tool that if you really focus and train that, you're doing just as much as you could be, like you're getting as much out of it, I mean, almost as you could be physically. And that's another thing, like I kind of want to go back and mention about that previous thing, is like I started reading and I started all this mindfulness stuff during COVID, because I was like, that's one thing I normally don't spend as much time as I'd like on strengthening. And like the mind is a muscle too. You got to work it out, and you get stronger and stronger with that every single day. And like that whole mindfulness, reading, and all that stuff you kind of do strengthens it. So I went back, did all the mind strengthening stuff. And again, like watching film was a way of kind of replacing that team time I'd normally get.
Absolutely. That's huge. That's really big. Something you've talked a lot about too is your coachings and how they've said this, and they've given you kind of ideations on what to do along the way. What else, like, is there anything else they've done to keep you engaged with your sport? And more specifically, is there anything your coaches have done to keep you involved with your teammates?
Yeah, so what we did to keep involved with our sport, we've had weekly Zoom meetings every week since like the whole COVID thing started. And some of the weeks would just be like, we'd be going over film, we'd be going over like technicality stuff, like having actual meetings, like putting plays in and all that. And some of the meetings, it would be, we'd have like workouts just on the Zoom. And then other times we have like I don't know how many of you guys have used Discord, but we had a Discord app, and some of us would just game on there too. So there's a lot of things, like it was just kind of like we connect on the Discord once a week, and sometimes all the guys would just talk. It'd be like have like those little Zoom party things, just making sure we're staying in touch with our teammates, making sure everybody's doing good. I found those were really fun, and just doing that stuff. And like one of the other things like I'm thinking off of the top of my head is just like our coaches had us do a like a workout challenge video, like posted yourself doing a workout, like an unconventional workout. Like I know I went to like the football field and I did some like pull-ups on the goalpost. They like try to do a muscle up. Wasn't really there yet, but yeah, a lot of guys had some pretty creative things, so that was cool to see.
No, that's awesome. That's really cool. And it sounds like it's really good structure and schedule to keep with that, to keep those Zoom meetings with your team, with your coaches, and kind of get a chance to interact with those guys, but keeping structure to it. That's cool.
Yeah, big time.
Is there, switching gears a little bit, is there a particular key that you use to define success? Like what does a successful day look like for Reggie? And what does success in your sport and school look like for you? And how do you get there?
So what I would kind of define this success is, I mean, like success is like, to me, like you're going, reaching your goals and trying to get better every single day, Like you got to take things about a day-by-day thing. And so for me, what I think of a successful day is if I get all my tasks done that I need to get done, and I do them all like efficiently. Like I'm not just kind of like laying around on my phone in my bed all day. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not 100, like I'm not perfect every single day. I have days that aren't as good as others. I have days where I'm like lazy sometimes, but then I have days like a lot of the time, like I find that like going to mindfulness and reading the books I read kind of motivate me and help me find help me out just getting to those things done. And I think another big thing to touch on that is just like staying disciplined. Like discipline will take over when motivation isn't there. Like those who are disciplined, I would think, will always go farther than those who are motivated, because like to the fact of the reality is you're not going to be motivated to do what you want to do every single day. It's really about like having success for me is like having that discipline and making sure I'm getting my stuff done every single day. And I think like during that COVID time and even to this day, like I still have the tasks I need to get done. I get done every single day. most of the time not most of the time I should say, but some of the time it's like not as early as I'd like to get them done. And since I end up sacrificing time having to like go play video games with my friends or watching Netflix or something. But yeah, I get them done every single day. And just like, I think having that discipline has been really big in me trying to reach my goals and trying to get to where I want to be.
Yeah, that's huge. One of the most powerful things I ever came across was a speech by Inky Johnson, and he said, eventually you're gonna find something that's bigger than you, that's tougher than you. No matter how strong and tough you are,
Oh yeah.
there is something out there that you're gonna hit that's gonna be tougher than you. So if you don't have a reason that's bigger than you for what you're doing, it's gonna be really tough to keep doing that thing. And that discipline, that's a really strong point in that. I like that. I like that you found a really articulate way to put that. That's cool. With that, when discipline fails, when sometimes you're just having a really bad day, you're dragged out, you're just, you're not in a great frame. What do you do about that? Is there a particular someone you reach out to? Is there a support or resource? Or like what's your go-to if you're having a not great day?
A not great day? Honestly, in terms of that, like when the discipline's there, like one of my friends told me this too, like Brian Brigham, the guy with Peak, he told me that like you can sometimes bad days are going to happen. It's okay to kind of miss your, what I'm going to call them again, my habits is what we call them, the daily habits. It's okay to miss those like once a month. You just can't let it happen consistently. Now, for me personally, when I'm finding myself having a bad day like that or having a discipline like that, I knock off because I have about like 7 things I like to get done every single day. So when I'm like, okay, well, this is going to be rough. Like, I'm not really getting anything done I need to. I'm feeling kind of sluggish today. Like, whatever the reason is, I just chop it in half. I'm like, okay, here's the things I really need to get done. I prioritize the top 3 things from that list. Once I get those top 3 things done, like, I'm not going to it still hurts me because like in my head, I'm like, man, like I feel kind of like a waste right now. Like I'm not getting the stuff done I need to get done. I know I could do it too, but I just get those top 3 things done and I head to bed. I wake up tomorrow in a better mood usually. So like, I think it's, when you're finding like a tough time like that, don't worry about getting everything you need to get done. Again, prioritize maybe the 1 or 2 most important things for you and fight through that and get that done.
Totally. And you can kind of find a little bit of comfort in that productivity and just getting stuff done. I think that a lot of time, maybe just for some people, it's totally different case by case, but that stasis and that not sense of achievement, especially for athletes and student athletes who are used to very consistent achievement, that can be really harmful.
Yes.
Building on that last question just a little bit though, as a varsity athlete, you've got all kinds of personal connections, professional supports, other resources. Is there anything you reach out to and like really capitalize on any of that for your well-being, especially like mental health kind of deal?
Honestly, me personally, I haven't really like reached out to anybody like that. Like we do have supports. Like we have people that work with our team and all that. Like I know some guys have talked, like we have a lady that works with gender-based violence potential program, Colleen Peary, who's awesome to talk to if you ever have any problems and stuff like that. And there's always people you can go to. I feel like if you're a student athlete, especially even in high school, like their coaches, your teammates will care about you. You got to go like kind of like your 1 or 2 best friends, especially that like you can trust with all that stuff. Going to them is really helpful and all that. Yeah, me personally, like I think for me personally, like what I found helps me the most is just reading more. Reading more of this book, like reading more and like learning about like why I'm feeling the ways I'm feeling, and just trying to like attack them and overcome them from that sense.
Totally. And you know what? I think that we're told a lot of times that you have to reach out to somebody, you have to talk to somebody. And I think it can be very valuable. And there's rarely a time when talking to somebody is going to be a bad thing, but there is also a time and a place to do some reflection and do some reading, like you said. And I think that can be really, really valuable that way.
100%. I think, I got like, just kind of building on what you're saying there. Like, again, the book can't hurt me. It's just really looking into like when you're in those dark places, like you kind of like go dive in deeper into those dark places and find like the root of the problem. It could be stuff like fear of rejection, fear of failure, stuff like that. And like really finding like what's causing that. And that's what's been helping me the most, because like at the end of the day, I'm like, no one really knows how you're feeling except you. You can try to tell these people. Like, I'm not saying don't tell these people, because some people might know exactly what you're going through and then they can really, really help you there. So it's always great to tell somebody. But sometimes I'm talking to people that maybe like it's hard to find someone that understands. You really got to look at that yourself and reflect and find out what's going on with yourself, and then you can build from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else I think that I've seen a little bit is just having something really strong to look forward to, have a positive thing down the tunnel, something that you see coming. Is there something like that for you right now? Is there something that you're really like looking forward to, something that really gets you going?
My first game back. I can't wait. It's those of you who don't know, I had to miss the last season with an injury, and then we had to miss this current season with COVID. And the next time the lights are on, man, I get jitters every time thinking about it. I can't it can't come soon enough, man. I'm so excited for that.
Absolutely. I think we're all looking forward to the return of sport, and everybody will get a really, really great rush when we finally get back out on the field, out on the court, out on the everything in a normal sense.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, we do have a little bit of stuff going on right now in terms of around the province. There's some sports happening, and I know that you're back at practice right now.
Yep.
What's looked different, but maybe different in a good way since you got back? Is there any changes that you're like, hey, you know what, this is kind of nice and things are different, but I like it now?
Different in the sense like it's quick, everything's been nice and concise. I mean, like we don't have a ton of time in the weight room or in the practice facilities or anything. So we kind of get in there. It's forces us to do our work, be really efficient with what we're doing and getting out, which I think has been good for just, again, like with that whole time management piece and all that. And it's been good to like see the guys and stay around the guys still. It's been really nice. Just like, I got a lot of love for my team, and like the guys in there are like family now. Like I see them like 4 or 5 days a week all the time, and got a lot of love for those dudes. So just being around those guys and being able to still like have the support with those guys, support those guys, and work to get better with every day with those guys has been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In terms of training, not everybody has the luxury of being back in the facility. Not everybody has the luxury of being training with their teammates right now. Is there any advice you could give anybody in terms of training at home, in terms of modified training, training with limited equipment? What worked for you, and what did you find maybe wasn't worth the time?
Yeah, again, in terms of what I found worked for me, again, training my mind, like that's one thing I think can really you can really focus on as an athlete. That's one thing that people really look over in sports, like, oh, I gotta train my body. I found sports are like 90% mental, and 90% comes down to like that knowing your game. Like you can always learn more about your game, learn more about your sport, and learn more about how to like become the best you can be mentally, and that'll really improve your performance on the field.
Absolutely, absolutely. All the chalk talk in the film you've been watching, I'm sure is going to pay off really huge when you get back up and competing again. So that's huge.
Yeah, it's a plan.
That's awesome. Well, it looks like we're running out of time here. I really do appreciate everything you've been able to give us to this point, Reggie. It's been awesome.
Cool.
And if you have any closing thoughts, now would be the time to say them.
Yeah, like I was just saying, like, hope you guys listen to this and were able to find something. I mean, I feel we're going to be doing a couple more of these during the thing. So yeah, like, I mean, never feel like you don't have anyone to reach out to. Feel free to reach out. Like, there's always going to be someone there that cares about you. But at the end of the day, like, if you can't find someone to reach out to, look within yourself. Like, you have it within yourself to find out what's wrong and to grow from that. Like, for those of you, like, yeah, look within yourself. You have more than enough in yourself to figure out what's going on.
That's awesome. That's a really good closing message, Reggie. Thank you. And that really fits the theme of what you're talking about today. Thank you very much for the interview today. And remember, guys, tune in next week, and we'll be talking to Sophie Gelano, and you'll get to hear her thoughts on this topic as well. Reg, thanks very much for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.